Fire King players, you have to stop fake chain blocking. This is getting a little out of hand, and I get that some of you guys are a little bit newer. Some of these players are newer. They're picking up structured decks to play, but some of you guys are intentionally doing it, and that's a big no-no. I dare say if you do it intentionally, that is basically cheating. So don't do this. We're going to talk about rulings today, and welcome to 2024 ruling video. This is the first one of the year. Probably many more to come as long as the game state doesn't get too complicated, but if it does, I'll try to break it down, especially with new cards. You don't want to miss out on stuff like that. And today we're going to cover some of the most common misplays, some of the most common fake chain plays. And first of all, I need to correct one of my own videos, which is the how to beat Sinful Spoiled Fire King. I didn't really make a video correction. I pinned it in the comments, which is related to Garunix versus Sacred Garunix versus Ash Blossom. That particular one, the correction is you can't use Ash Blossom on that card because destroying a card in the deck doesn't count as sending a card from the deck to the graveyard. So there you have it. You learn something new every time. I'm glad you guys corrected me on that one. So even with RC2, you still could learn something or two. You might have 95% of the ruling down, but there's always something new to learn, or maybe you'll just forget some stuff. Anyways, today's ruling quiz, 3 parts to this. One very common misplay, one contextual example, and the fake chain that's been happening that you guys have to catch and call people out on, and that goes for you judges as well, okay? So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell, and see if you can get all of these right. So let's go. Question number 1. We have a Gem Knight Garnet attacking into a Fire King avatar Barong, destroys it by battle because it's 100 attack stronger. Cool. And now we proceed to the standby phase. The Fire King player activates Barong to search a card and acts as that is Chain Link 1. Proceeds to search card and then proceeds to OTK the opponent because all they have is a Garnet. Now your job, here's the question, what was wrong with this entire scenario? You guys got 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The answer is, this whole scenario could not have happened. The reason why I'm bringing this up, and yes, I know some of you guys in the comments are going to type,
oh, I could have just read the card and figured this out.
Yes, you could have, but as we all know, most Yu-Gi-Oh players, they don't read the card, and therefore I'm going to explain it to you. What was the illegal play? What was the misplay that has been caused from this illegal play because people didn't read their cards? First of all, the Fire King avatar Barong, it can't trigger because the important card text here is during the next standby phase, after this card was destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, add 1 Fire King card from your deck to your hand except Fire King avatar Barong. There you have it. It has to be destroyed by a card effect to get the so-called effect. That's why battling this card isn't the worst, especially if the Kirin, the Garunix, basically everything has already triggered. Destroying this one by battle should be one of the ways to empty out your opponent's board. Otherwise, what else are they going to do? They're going to get the follow-up. They're not going to get the follow-up with this if you destroy it by battle. But you, of course, you don't want to blindly swing into a Fire King deck because they could have the Garunix in the graveyard, the Garunix in hand, they could have a Ponix in hand. There's a lot of things they can have in hand that could trigger. That's why you don't want to do that by battle typically, but this is the one that would not result in anything happening if you do destroy it by battle, as long as everything else has already triggered. So, you know, it's a little bit of a safe point, so you don't have to burn your effects to remove this. I've seen this time and time again where people decide to add a card, they add Garunix into their hand, or they add Kirin into their hand, then they use Fire King Island, blow it up, and then just get a full OTK after that. That's no good. I don't want you guys to fall into, you know, that line of illegal play, for one. And the second thing is, I've seen people avoiding to attack because they thought that this was going to trigger in the next turn and basically end up resulting in an OTK. So these are some of the common misplays and kind of the root point and the root cause of these particular misplay and I guess or illegal play. So there you have it. That's the first one. Okay, very simple. Ruling number 2. This is very simple. We have a situation where we have Gem Knight Garnet once again and the same Barong on the field, but this time in the Fire King player's hand we have a Sacred Fire King Garunix and a Legendary Fire King Ponix also in the hand, and we proceed to battle and we swing into it with the Gem Knight. Now looking at the hand, there's like a couple of hand traps here and there. Cool, that doesn't really matter to this context. We have the Gem Knight Garnet attacking into the Barong. Barong gets destroyed, sent to the graveyard, and then we trigger the effects of the monsters in the hand. So we attempt to go Chain Link 1, Fire King Garunix as Chain Link 1, and then we have Ponix as Chain Link 2. What's wrong with this situation? You guys have 5 seconds to answer this. This is a contextual example, okay? This is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. The answer is quite simple. You can only trigger one of these cards. This goes back to the classic days of, what do you want to say, I guess Gore's Tragodia. If you meet the trigger condition of monsters that would summon themselves from the hand, you can only summon one of those cards. That's right, only one of them can be summoned. You can only trigger one of them. You can't go triple Gores over one attack. That'd be kind of crazy, honestly. But you can't go Gore's Tragodia together in the same battle because it doesn't work that way, for one, and that's why you can only trigger one of these cards. You got to make your best bet here. You can't cause, chain blocks via this particular method, so you're gonna have to choose which one you want to come out. Typically, you're gonna summon out the Garunix, but I'm just saying I've seen people build these chain links to create so-called chain blocks, and it's a little ridiculous. But this one was more or less basic. Not a lot of people were making this particular mistake, but would like to highlight, gotta refresh your memories of old rulings of triggers in the hand that summons themselves out, and you just can't, meet them all at once. You can only summon one. And this is something that's pretty much not written in the rulebook. With the contextual example out of the way, ruling number 3. We're gonna go back to the Gemini Garnet, and it's gonna be swinging over the Barong with this time. However, this time, the Sacred Fire King Garunix is in the graveyard, and the Ponix is in the hand. Since Ponix usually only summons itself from the hand anyway, so I'm going to use these two as the example. And so we destroy by battle, and the Fire King player goes, oh, Chain Link 1, I'm going to use Garunix because my opponent has a Ghost spell. And then Chain Link 2, we're going to attempt to activate Legendary Fire King Ponix in the hand. Okay, so they're activating these cards, and how does this thing resolve? You'll have 5 seconds to answer this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If you said the Fire King Garunix in the graveyard can trigger as Chain Link 1, and then you can stack the Legendary Fire King Ponix as Chain Link 2, and nothing's wrong with it, this is how it should be played, then you'd be wrong, and you should know better. Well, you probably didn't know anyway. No, you can't do that. Apparently, this is also in the database, so I'm not just making this, pulling this out of thin air. You can't do it. The reason why you can't trigger both of these cards is because they both include a hand summoning trigger. They can be summoned from both the hand, well, one of them can be summoned from the hand, and the other can be summoned from both hand and graveyard. But because it includes, it can be summoned from the hand, it counts as the hand summon trigger, and you can only have one of those per chain. I know, the monster is not triggering in the hand though, Tombox. I know you're asking that, but it doesn't matter because it's included in the text, and therefore you can. And here's the Japanese database ruling, although in TCG you're not supposed to use Japanese database. But here's the translated version of this. I think it's going to matter a lot. I know some people might have gotten away with this because they can build pretty good chain links. Why does this particular chain link even matter? It's probably because if you look at the current hand trap line in the hand, there's like an Ash and there's also a Ghost spell. You would probably want the Garunix to Chain Link 1, and then you want the Ponix to Chain Link 2, so you can't use the Ghost spell. But because you can't trigger both, if you activate the Garunix, you're 100% going to hit by the Ghost spell. It's not coming out, and therefore you're not going to get the Kieran line. The whole line is basically not there. There you have it. It does impact the line. It impacts gameplay a lot. This particular ruling video is more or less dedicated to the hand trigger monsters that summon themselves out, so be very careful about that, and you just don't really want to mess this up, okay? So that's all I have for this one, and that's how it's gonna be. Whether you agree with me or not, it doesn't matter. This is how rulings work. I know a lot of people got screwed by this particular one and made the deck seem better than it is. Trust me, the deck is already plenty good. You don't need this little mistake, and if you make this mistake and get caught on it, now it's going to punish you rather than reward you for making, I guess, illegal plays, the fake chain block as we like to call it. And so yeah, that's all I got for this video. Did you guys get them all right? Did you guys get them all wrong? Are you guys rusty because you didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh over the holidays? Well, let me know down in the comment section. Maybe I made a mistake here, maybe I didn't. But if I did, well, you're gonna have to list your sources. And if you're gonna say, oh, but at this event I did this, well, you're going to have to prove it some way, shape, or form. But that is it for this ruling quiz. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. You can apply this at your next major event, because Fire King, they're here to stay, and they're likely going to become a tier 1, tier 0 deck in the very near future. But I also don't think that this deck is going to be viable for Worlds, because probably by the time we get to Worlds, it's likely going to get banned on the Japan side. So that's just my prediction. Banless prediction out of nowhere, because we didn't do one. That's it for this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that thumbs up button. If you guys want to see more stuff from MST.TV, we've got some crazy, I guess, unreleased product stuff coming out. So stay tuned, hit subscribe, ding that notification bell, and don't forget about that binder. This binder, sorry, let me just go grab it. This binder giveaway is almost reaching its conclusion, so make sure you guys check out that giveaway video. And yeah, it's a pretty loaded one, so make sure you guys check it out. See you in the next one.